Thank you. Thank you, Dino. I always forget to record my sessions. So we're good?
Yes, we are good. We are good.
Okay, awesome. So omega-3 fish oil has beautiful effects on your body, not just in terms of your weight loss, but also in helping you to balance what you need in your body, called the polyunsaturated fats, which help you to get your health goals. So we'll go a bit more detailed today, and I highly request everyone to kind of take notes, take snapshots of what you're doing, because this is what's going to help you in terms of taking your results to the next level. So let me begin by sharing a little bit about myself. I'm Manisha. I'm an Active World team member with Wellness Experts, and I started the program in 2019. The coach that did Pilates with you guys just now, that's my coach, Maylee. I met her online on Facebook. I was just scrolling, looking for a personal trainer. I came across her. And long story short, I was pretty skeptical about whether she'll be able to help me because she's all the way in Australia. But guess what? I have been able to get amazing results. I've lost 20 kilos in the program in a span of 10 months, 10 months, like what Maylee explained. And my husband has lost 35 kilos on this journey as well. So let me share with you a little bit. So my husband's also lost 35 kilos being on this journey as well. And it's really nice because it's not only a matter of just getting fitter, but it's also about working on your health goals. So we feel amazing. We're able to keep, now I've been in the program for about 3 years. I've been able to keep this, maintain these results, and going forward, it's not difficult. And yeah, all right, so let's get into the omega-3 fish oil. So what are omega-3 fatty acids? So there are many different types of fatty acids that are available. First, you've got the polyunsaturated fats, and then you've got the monounsaturated fats, as well as the saturated fats. So many times when you guys join the 10 Days Lean and Tone program, we always talk about saturated fats. So you might actually be confused, what is saturated fat? So we're going to go a bit more into detail on that. And most of our fat intakes comes from these 3 types of fats. So polyunsaturated fats, first back in the 1930s, sparked investigations into how certain fats will help for essential optimal health, growth, and development of your body. So just going into a bit of details what it is. So polyunsaturated fats, which are also known as PUFA or PUFA for some, they are liquid at room temperature, and they're mostly found in most real foods, unprocessed foods. So high quantities of fatty fish, plant-based oils, seeds, and nuts all contain very high levels of polyunsaturated fats. The first polyunsaturated fat, which, like I mentioned, was discovered in 1930s, the omega-3 polyunsaturated fat is also known as alinolenic acid, also known as ALA. Bit technical here, but these are actually the fats that you require in your body for human growth. And because the body can't naturally produce them, you need to actually take them from foods to make sure you have a good level of growth. So I'm not sure whether you guys remember, even as kids, mummies used to give us a lot of cod liver oils and stuff like that. It's actually very optimal for the growth of your body as well as your brain. So the difference is, when you need it for brain, you get this polyunsaturated fats from not plants and seeds, but you get it more from fish products. So what it gives you is actually gives you EPA and DHA. So when you take this is actually, some of you may have heard like calcium is good for bones. Same way for your brain, EPA and DHA is very good for brain development from the time you're young. I'll go a bit more detail into improvement on brain health. So when you consume items which contain EPA and DHA, this can help to improve your cognitive function as well as reduce inflammation in the entire body. So these are they're very good for optimal brain health. Some studies which were actually done in the US, they even discovered there's a relationship between omega-3 supplementation. Okay, you may get omega-3 from natural food, but of course you won't get enough I'll go into the details of the food. Like, for example, salmon has a lot of omega-3, but you won't get enough. They actually found that by taking omega-3 supplements, you can have mild cognitive impairment and improve certain aspects of the cognitive function, such as better attention span, processing speed, as well as short-term memory recall. They even found that um, in low blood blood levels which has low DHA, they also increase a little bit of mental decline in older people, because as people age, they lose some of the supplement that they have in the body, so they need to take it from their food to help them to replenish. So they actually found a correlation between that in some of the studies done in the US. One of the main things, okay, when our body, when we put on weight, right? For example, when we put on weight, what we're doing is actually we're going through an inflammation process. It's very normal to understand this mechanism. Like, your body is supposed to be like that, but you've actually put on a little bit of body fat and you're inflamed, and the inflammation markers in your blood levels actually go higher. So by what omega-3 fish oil, it has one of the properties besides brain health improvement, help you with your memory development, brain development. It also helps you to reduce inflammation. So how it does that? They can help you to improve your joint swelling. When you reduce your inflammation, you will see a lot of difference in terms of people who usually get joint aches or even bone aches on their fingers and stuff. It can help you to reduce the joint swelling, pain, and some people even wake up with morning stiffness. By taking omega-3 supplements, it will actually help you to increase your DHA and EPA, and help, and that in turn helps you to reduce joint pain and stiffness. I'm not sure if you all know that there's actually a condition called rheumatoid arthritis. So this is actually an inflammatory condition, which is, it's an autoimmune condition. Nobody knows why it comes, how it happens, but what normally the medical professionals will do is teach you how to manage your pain to kind of reduce that, or either through immunosuppressants or either through steroids. One of the things you can do in addition to whatever your doctor is recommending is to eat food which is high in omega-3. So this actually helps. There's no cure for autoimmune. To be honest, there's no cure. You just have to manage the symptoms. So one of the things you can do is, if you know that these are the aches and pains that's giving you, by increasing your omega-3 polyunsaturated fat consumption, you can help to reduce some of these pains that you feel. So it helps you to reduce inflammation again. So it is also good for heart health. So this is something I learned quite recently as well. Omega-3 are known for their positive effects on the heart. Overall research indicates that consuming fish and other types of seafood as part of a balanced diet, okay? So it doesn't mean that, okay, omega-3 is good, you just take omega-3 all the way. So try and keep a balanced diet in your lifestyle. Some studies even suggest that increased consumption of EPA and DHA may even prevent disease, heart disease and stroke. Fish oil, actually, if you notice from this picture, it has also been known to show you effects of lowering your triglyceride levels. So for some of you who actually go for cholesterol tests and stuff, you can notice that there are a lot of different things when you do your cholesterol test. So this actually helps you to reduce your, there's called HDL and LDL. So it actually helps you to reduce your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol as well. In short, right, how I remember this is, I remember when I went to see a doctor, he said, I said, what's the difference between HDL and LDL? And he's like, HDL, it means it's good. LDL, it means it's lousy. So it's easy to remember. So as long as you see a blood test report and you see your LDL is not high, that means it's good, you're safe. Fish oil supplements have also been proven to show that it is amazing for your heart health. In that sense, is that cholesterol actually has a direct effect also on your heart. So by consuming a bit more on omega-3 fish oil as a supplement to your food, don't go and take like a whole bunch of fish oil and take it and then, okay, I'll be good. So take it as a supplement to your food, and also try and get your omega-3 from natural food. So I will go into the next page, which are the items that actually contain more EPA, DHA, or more ALA. So there's a difference there. So it helps to lower your stroke and heart disease risk. Food that are rich in omega-3 as well as omega-6. Replacing carbs with foods which are more higher in omega-3 rather than carbs, which will help your overall heart. So this research indicates that consuming fish and other types of seafood as part of your balanced diet promotes a better heart health. For example, one of the tips we can share, many of you who are on the 10 days, you will notice we say, get rid of red meat in your diet. So if you're a person who used to take a lot of red meat before, what we can suggest is convert those 1 or 2 meals that you usually take with red meat to taking a bit of salmon throughout the 10 days lean and tone program. So you try and include more salmon, because salmon actually has a very high level of omega-3, and this is also helps you to get higher levels of EPA and DHA. And instead of taking a bag of chips, for example, nuts and seeds is another one. Nuts and seeds also have omega-3, but that's the ALA part of it, not the EPA and DHA part of it, because omega-3 actually has few different properties of the polyunsaturated fats that you can get. So the next thing is the next thing is that it also helps for your blood sugar regulation. So one of the things that was found recently is that they did trials in the US, and they found out that in comparison to carbohydrates and saturated fats and monounsaturated fats, omega-3 has a consistent favorable effect on your improved blood sugar levels, insulin resistance, and insulin secretion capacity. How it happens is omega-3s and omega-6s both actually play a part in your play a role in a positive findings. So they said that people who had higher blood levels of essential fatty acid, or which I mentioned earlier, the linoleic acid, which is the ALA, may be 35% less likely to develop type 2 diabetes. So omega-3 itself has a potential to decrease the type 2 diabetes as well. And because remember, I mentioned earlier that they have an anti-inflammatory property. So there's a speculation that research indicates that omega-3 can reduce some of the inflammatory processes which are responsible for increasing your insulin resistance. So this is the way how it has a positive effect on your type 2 diabetes. So it can help to improve blood sugar regulation, and also by consuming, again, like I said, PUFA, which is polyunsaturated fatty acids, helps the cycle that I explained. It helps to improve your insulin resistance and secretion capacity. Might be a bit technical. What you can do is I suggest take a lot of photographs, get in touch with your coach, and even do a lot of research on how, if you see anyone that you know that could get a bit of health improvement by taking omega-3 fish oil, you can always speak to your coach, or even you can do a little bit of research, or feel free to get in touch with me. Okay, for me, I have a client who's in Australia, and she has something called what's the SLE? I can't remember the full name of it, but it's also an autoimmune condition which actually has stages of cycles that you can go through. So of course, I didn't realize that because it's affecting how she feels on her bones when she wakes up, it was a byproduct of the fact that she was following the healthy, active lifestyle. She was doing some workouts. She was also doing her supplementation. And she's like, I actually wake up in the morning feeling a bit more less in pain. So it could even be the fact that we're reducing gluten when we consume our foods in our 10 days lean and tone program. So gluten is known to be an inflammatory food anyway. Milk also, cow's milk is also known to be an inflammatory food anyway. So part of the entire process and the cycle helps to alleviate some of her pains that she was getting. I'm not saying that is directly related, so it's not direct, but it's just something that your body naturally may have that effect on your body. Like I said, it's not a one thing that if you take it, you will get that. It's a combination of a healthy, active lifestyle to allow your body to repair and recover. So, remember I mentioned earlier that it improves heart health. So, of course, if it improves heart health, you also have a little bit of longevity in your life. So, how that works is um, research shows that if you're on a meal plan, okay, if you're on a meal plan which has more polyunsaturated fats or omega-3 rich foods, this will help you to consume foods lesser which are higher in saturated fats. Does it make sense? If you're actually taking foods that keep you full, foods that make you not hungry very often, then you automatically won't go for that bag of chips, or you automatically won't go for the bag of like what else has high levels of saturated fats? Almost anything. Anything that is high in sodium, usually also very high in saturated fat. So you can actually have a look when you go shopping and stuff, and you want to buy, like, some people will say, I want to buy some organic crisp because it's gluten free. Turn the packaging around and have a look. What is the amount of saturated fat? What is the amount of sodium inside? Then you make a decision. So you want to make sure that something you're taking that's organic is also low in sodium and low in saturated fats. So usually saturated fats are found in red meat. So I'll just share a little bit of example with you guys. Last year during COVID, we couldn't get I have a small doggy at home, a small poodle, and we couldn't get the particular kind of food that we wanted in a canned form. So I decided to go and buy some lamb or beef and just boil it and give it to him because it can't take salt, garlic, and stuff. And what I realized after that, and I just boiled it in plain water, what I realized is the meat itself, even though it's lean meat, it had no fats inside whatsoever. The meat inside started excreting oils, which is actually a saturated fat. And if you leave it to cool after a certain number of hours, you will see a yellow thick form of oil actually that comes on the layer of the meat. So the oil, the saturated fats is actually inside the meat. It doesn't mean that if you take out the fats and make it lean, the fats is actually inside the meat itself, even though it's lean meat. So the oil started to form a layer, and I was like, oh my God, this is the kind of stuff we put it inside our body. So can you imagine? I decided to just remove those pieces of oils with my hand, not knowing that it was so oily. When I even went to wash my hands with normal soap, I couldn't wash it off. The oil was still so sticky on my hands. Yeah, so you want to just be careful in terms of red meat because they are super high in saturated fats. So imagine that red meat that you are taking, imagine you're putting it inside your mouth, and what is happening inside your gut when it cools down? It just forms a layer of saturated fat inside your intestines. Yeah, so one of the things you can do is get rid of red meat in your food, and you will see a lot of improvement as well. So, like we mentioned, what is the reason that there's a linkage between omega-3 and longevity? So, polyunsaturated fats reduce the risk of heart disease. The EPA and DHA reduces the chances of getting any other brain development issues. Overeating, everything that you take, right, you must take in moderation. Doesn't mean if something is good, you go and overtake it. So take it in moderation. And by taking something which is higher in polyunsaturated fats, automatically you will reduce your saturated fat in, consumption as well. So everything must be done in moderation. This is the most important question. A lot of my customers keep on asking me, if I can take supplements, but of course, even whatever you take, there's how much can you take? You can't take a whole bottle of supplement and put it inside your mouth every day, right? So you want to try and get this supplementation from certain sources of food. So which are the food that has high levels of omega-3 fish oil. Foods which are rich in omega-3 fish oil, for example, the fatty fish, okay? Remember fatty fish, which is lower mercury levels, because some of the fishes actually in the sea actually have very, very high mercury levels. So, for example, 3 ounces of salmon has 1.8 grams of EPA and DHA. Sardine is another one, also quite high in terms of the polyunsaturated fats. Mackerel, rainbow trout, sea bass, all these are very good sources of fish, which is, and you will notice, right, most of these fish, right, they are deep sea fish, okay? So which means they take very long before they actually get frozen, because the salmon is a deep sea fish. So if it was something that cannot survive, then it won't be a deep sea fish. It will get frozen even in the sea itself. So one of the things that you can take note as a deep sea fish. Farm fish usually, which how to say, not grown, that doesn't come from the sea, lah, put it that way. Farm fish that doesn't come from the sea, they actually have lesser quantity of omega-3 fatty acid. It's not coming to me. Dory fish is one of those, as an example. And also some of the fish which you want to avoid is like shark fish, swordfish, king mackerel, or tilefish. These fish, the only problem with this fish is that it actually has a very high level of mercury, and you don't want to take food that's very high level in mercury, because it's not good for your body as well. So they just did a comparison of which fish has more mercury and which fish has more omega-3 fatty acids. So for example, you can see anchovies. So now, of course, anchovies, they're good, but you also want to make sure that when you get the anchovies, they're not very high in sodium when you buy them, because they have to preserve anchovies, right? So then they become very high in sodium. So unless you can get fresh anchovies, that's okay. Salmon, you can see it's got a very high level of omega-3 fatty acid, as well as sardines. The next choice will be mackerel, trout. So you can have a good comparison. You can take a picture of this and have a good comparison of making, while you're trying to make sure that a fish is very high in omega-3 fish oil, you want to make sure that they're not very high in mercury at the same time. So you can take a snapshot of this. So omega-3, like I mentioned, they have two different types. One is the EPA and DHA, and then there are certain omega-3 that you can get from nuts and plants, which contains alpha linolenic acid, which is ALA. So there are different types of omega-3 fatty acids that you can get. That's why if you notice in the meal plan, right, we always say that take a little bit of nuts. Of course, again, in moderation. You don't go and take a whole packet of nuts. So take it in moderation. And again, we also encourage to take a little bit of chia seeds with your shake if you can, or flax seeds as well, because they have this property of, by taking food which are high in omega-3 fatty acids, is actually good for your body. So that's why the 10 days lean and tone program has been crafted in such a way to give you all the essential needs that you can get from food as well as from your nutrition. So what are the omega-3 fish oil recommendations? The American Heart Health actually promotes, the American Heart Association, they actually promote eating fish at least twice in a week, or at least 2 servings in a week. And they specifically actually mention fatty fish. So things like salmon, mackerel, herringbone, just now we mentioned sardine, all these are very high in omega-3 fatty acid. However, like we mentioned, make sure that when you're taking your fish, you're not taking the kind of fish which is very high in mercury. So make sure you do a little bit of research. Don't go overboard with everything. Again, like I mentioned, have a moderation. The next thing is there's certain quotes by the American Heart Association saying, polyunsaturated fats help to reduce bad cholesterol. Remember we mentioned just now about the LDL, which is the lousy cholesterol. So this is the easy way to remember. When you go see a doctor, you don't have to wait for explanation. When L means lousy cholesterol. So it helps to reduce your bad cholesterol levels in your blood, which can lower the risk of your heart disease and stroke. Oils rich in polyunsaturated fats also provide essential fats that your body needs but cannot produce itself. So your body needs certain type of fats. That's why there's good fats and bad fats, and that's why we go through with you guys very in detail when you do your 10 days lean and tone program, how you're trying to even get good fat. So one of the easiest ways to get good fat is by omega-3 fish oil supplementation. This is a finding by the Harvard Medical School. Remember I mentioned that there is a correlation between EPA, DHA on your brain health as well. So they have actually found that by taking omega-3 fish oil, it helps to improve brain health. So different mechanisms of actions were studied during this time, some of which were that the omega-3 can travel easily through the brain cell membrane and interact with your mood-related molecules inside the brain. So I don't know many of you know this or not. Your gut and your brain is actually connected directly. So because of the kind of foods that you consume, they have an anti-inflammatory effect that will help you to relieve things like depression. And this is a finding by Harvard Medical School. Again, like I mentioned, there's ALA, EPA, and DHA. The one that helps in this particular research they noticed was the EPA and DHA part of it. So EPA and DHA is mostly either from fish sources. ALA is the one you get from plant and nut sources. So recent studies at the Massachusetts General Hospital and Emory University suggest that depressed individuals who are overweight or have inflammatory activity may be good candidates to give them EPA and DHA supplementation. And I highly request, if any of you are really looking into how to get the benefits of fish oil for your parents or for someone that you know who's going through this, log into this website under Harvard Medical School, just click omega-3 fish oil for depression and read up a little bit about how they talk about studies which is related to mood disorders. Even something called postpartum depression is real. Yeah, a lot of mummies who give birth also go through this. And even another brain health issue, which they have noticed in the study when I read this website, they also talk about bipolar disorder. So again, many of these are disorders which are in a way genetic, in a way hereditary. I'm not sure because there's not enough foundation or research to show what's the cause of this. So that helps to kind of understand how omega-3 fish oil works. So, so one of the things, right, I always get a question from a lot of my clients is that, hey, how come the omega-3 fish oil that I buy like in a pharmacy, you know, like I can buy like $30 or $50 and I get like 100 capsules. And why is it that the omega-3 that's produced by Herbalife is so much more expensive? So just think about it this way, right? If you buy a piece of salmon from the supermarket, because salmon is very high in omega-3 fatty acid, right? If you buy a piece of salmon from the supermarket, it's going to cost you at least $20-something just for one slab. How many slabs do you have to get omega-3 fish oil in a bottle like that? It's going to cost you a lot of money to get that salmon to produce a good quality of omega-3 fish oil. So what happens is the pureness of the omega-3 fish oil makes a huge difference as well. The more pure it is, the better you will see the result on your body when you consume it. So they actually did a test, which I'll show you after this. I hope you guys can hear it. So they actually did a test. Dino, if you're there, you can let me know if the sound comes or not. So they did an experiment by putting the Herbalife omega-3 fish oil in a polystyrene cup. So I don't know whether you guys know, for a cup where you can put hot water inside and it doesn't melt, it's actually lathered with a kind of fatty oil in the cup to make sure that the heat doesn't penetrate. That's why if you take a polystyrene cup and you put hot water or hot tea or hot coffee, your hands won't burn. But it has a layer of fat around it. And that is kind of known as the omega-6 fat, which is the not good fats. So when they put the omega-3 fish oil inside that cup, that it just burns through your entire fats that you have, because it's a good fat which helps you to get rid of your bad fats in the body. So the experiment, they will explain, and you can understand a bit more from there. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear? No? No? Okay. Hold on. Let me screen share again. Share sound.
Shows that you pick up in any
Let me start from the beginning.
All right, how are you guys doing? Today
Can
I'm
you hear
actually
now?
going to show you guys quality
Thank
control
you.
over Herbalife line fish oils versus just your over-the-counter fish oils that you can pick up at any vitamin shop, any store, or anything like that. Mainly what I have here is 2 styrofoam cups that are empty, okay? Styrofoam is actually made with pig fat. That's what keeps it insulated, that's what keeps it hot, okay? So first what I'm going to do, a bowl of some hot water. And what this hot water is going to represent is either your stomach or your blood flow. Obviously, your water or your blood's not going to be 225 degrees, okay? But we made it hot so it speeds up the process, okay? And how you can tell if your fish oils are high quality is when they're high quality, what it will do is actually melt the pig fat in the styrofoam cup. So these are the over-the-counter ones, okay? I'm just going to put in here like, I don't know, 7 of them, okay? We're just going to dump those in there right now. Okay, and then I'm actually going to take one of the Herbalife lines, okay? Herbalife lines, and we're going to just put one in there, okay? I'm going to wait for about 45 seconds to a minute, and you should actually start seeing this work extremely fast, okay? So you can actually just look in the cup if you guys want.
So 7 capsules versus
Mainly
1.
what should start happening is, what you'll start noticing is the over-the-counter fish oil is just kind of sitting there, and it's starting to eat a little bit of it, but the actual one on this side is burning through it really, really fast. You see how all the water comes through?
Oh, wow.
Okay? Now, that's just one capsule, right? Now, this one's starting to do it a little bit, so the quality of it is pretty decent. But what I want to show you, how many did I put in here? 7, right? Versus 1. So, over amount of time, and it's not really eating it to a point where it's going all the way through, but this actually ate through the actual styrofoam cup, which shows you the quality of it. So, this is what you're putting in your body every day, and you want to be sure that, again, in Herbalife we always talk about quality versus quantity. Again, quality versus quantity. We use one and look at the difference between what it's doing, okay? So, again, make sure that you continue to follow us here at Limitless Nutrition and Wellness, Coach K, Coach Rod, for another quality control day. Thanks.
Awesome.
So can I get some feedback? What did you guys see in there? What did you learn from there before I go to the next? Can I get some feedback? What did you see that happened? Did anyone notice anything? You mentioned it as well. What's the difference between using a lot and a little? Yes. So Herbalife fish oil, thank you, Michelle. Herbalife fish oil absorbs into our body easily, and it's quality over quantity. So if you have anyone asking you about why is it so expensive, you can tell them there's a difference, because you see the results almost immediately once you start consuming products that are very high in their quality level. Okay. Quality versus quantity. Very good, Jean. Very good, Usti. Awesome. Okay, so
All right, how are you guys doing today?
Okay, so I always get this question from a lot of my clients. Why is it? What age of people can actually take fish oil, and how to take it? So, oh yeah, I forgot to mention one of the things, right? The way to check on the pureness of your fish oil. So you got to ask yourself whether it's very pure or not. One of the ways to compare it is to put it in the freezer, and oils that have a very high freezing point, when you put it in the freezer, it will not freeze. But if the like I mentioned, the fish is a deep sea fish, right? So it shouldn't get frozen. So if you take the fish out and put it in the freezer, it won't actually get frozen. But if the omega-3 that you're using is not so high in quality, it will actually freeze very quickly in the freezer. But when it's pure, you know that it's not going to freeze. That's how you know it has a very high freezing point. So okay, so another question I get from some of my clients is that, oh, if I take omega-3 fish oil, right, is it very smelly? Will I have that funny burps because I eat omega-3 fish oil? The answer is no, because the Herbalife omega-3 fish oil actually contains thyme, peppermint, and cloves. So uh, this is something that I learned from Yan, Mama Yan. Her son actually takes the omega-3 fish oil as if they are jelly beans. So I tried once, after listening to her, I actually tried biting into the omega-3 fish oil. It's actually very nice, you know. It's very yummy. So you can take one or two, and it's quite nice to chew on it, and you don't get the fishy smell at all. And you can literally take it like jelly beans. So in terms of who can take it and how much to take, you guys can take a snapshot of this. I think this is something that I got either from one of the American Heart Association research or the Harvard Medical School research. Oh, it actually says under the American Heart Association. So you can take a snapshot of this and then check your bottle, how much it is and how much each person can take, and you can advise your customers or friends accordingly. The other thing is, okay, this is a summary that you guys can take a snapshot of how omega-3 fish oil has a lot of different benefits. So like what I said, it helps to improve your brain health because it provides the EPA and DHA, which is crucial for optimal brain development and function. It helps you to reduce inflammation. So that in turn helps to reduce swelling, pain, and morning stiffness. And this is really, really good for people who are elderly people who start to reduce muscle mass. So when they reduce their muscle mass, they start to get a lot of swelling and joint pains. So it's good for them. It's also good for people who are going towards an age where they need to start to work on their heart health. So it's good to start early. You don't want to wait until something happens. And then you start consuming food which is high in terms of EPA, DHA, or ALA, which is good for your heart. It increases longevity. Obviously, if it's good for your heart health, it's going to help you to increase longevity. Polyunsaturated fat itself reduces the risk of heart disease, reduces anxiety, and also helps you to sleep better. Remember, we mentioned that it's good for brain health as well, so it actually helps you to sleep better. Even mummies who are going through postpartum, they can also try and take this. Food that are high in omega-3, you want to use, besides doing your supplementation, you want to try and get high levels of omega-3 from food. You can go for things like salmon, sardine, mackerel, rainbow trout, and sea bass. The easiest one of the ways that I do is I take my omega-3 fish oil without fail 3 times a day. And each capsule contains the EPA and DHA inside, which is formulated with thyme, peppermint, clove, and also contains vitamin E. I highly suggest for those of you who have the bottle at home, take it, put it in your mouth, chew it. It's actually quite a fun experience. It's something totally different. You will not feel yucky. Yay, Arvin, well done. Yeah, so you can actually take it. It's actually quite fun to do so. And it's quite an experience. Like I said, I learned from Mama Yan's son. So Mama Yan told me one very funny experience that I want to share with you guys is that, she travels back to Hong Kong often, right? Not during COVID, of course, but she normally travels back to Hong Kong often. So her son, what he had done is that he had taken a whole bottle of water and he had put his jelly beans inside the water bottle, and they were crossing customs. And let me stop share first. So they were crossing customs. I can see all of you together. Yeah, they were crossing customs, and what happened, he had put all his jelly beans inside the water and they had already started to melt. And because they were crossing customs, the custom officer said, oh, you cannot take water inside. So she said, okay, no problem, I'll drink it. But she didn't know that inside the water, there was already oil inside. The moment she drank it, she spit the whole thing out everywhere. It was so funny. So I can't forget the story. Like even kids, right, they can have fun with supplements. So there's so many different ways you can do a lot of different things. So let me see. I think I finished. That was the end of the slideshow. Let me just go through it again. Yes, Thank you for your time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy. So can I, okay, now I'm gonna go into, before I go into the Q&A, let's take a picture together first. Can everyone turn on their cameras and let's take a picture together? Dino, are you gonna help us take a picture or should I do it?
I'll do it for you.
Thank you, Dino.
You're welcome. Okay, get ready, guys. 3, 2, 1. All right, next page. 3, 2, 1. All right.
Thank you, Dino. So do we have any questions in the chat? Let me have a look if we have anything left in here. You're most welcome, Muskan, Nelson. I done it before, Win. I try to compare quite often with other brands. Oh, Jasmine, you can share the results with us in the group.
How many tablets should we take? Is recommended in a day?
Always follow what it says on the bottle.
Okay.
So you look at the bottle. I actually can share just now the screen, which it shares for adults. 1 second, yeah. So it said just now, for adults, 2 to 4 grams of EPA or DHA. So I think if you take one to even 2 tablets, 2 to 3 times a day is fine.
Okay.
So Jasmine, anything to do with supplement, right? When you take anything that's excessive, it will just flush out from the body. It's not going to cause any harm. It's not medication. So it's a bit different compared to medication. When you take supplements, if it's excessive, you just flush it out. And everybody's body requirement is different. Like, for example, for Usti, her age is different. For Jasmine, for your age is different. So you can adjust it. Adults also range from 20 years old until 60, 70 years old, right? So even if you take extra, it will just flush it out of your system. So no harm. Okay. Speak to your coach. Best to speak to your coach and ask your coach to advise, because your coach knows you best. Always remember, the coach knows you best because they know the kind of meals you're consuming, the kind of food that you're taking, and the kind of health you have. So your coach will be able to advise you best. Like for me, I take even 2 to 3 times a day. For me, no issues. But speak to your coach and get your correct guidance on that. Like I said, you're taking something now to make sure you can have a better health, whether it's brain health, heart health, bone health. There's just so many different benefits that you can get out of it. So yeah. So like for me, right, I remember when I was working very hard to reduce my body fat to qualify for BTC. Wow, I take Omega like crazy because it helps to reduce your body fats. Yeah, so that's one of the tips. Let me see, any other questions? No problem, Alison. See you soon. Okay, so I'm going to wait another 2 minutes. If anyone's got any questions, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions. Hi, Shania. Are you learning about omega fish oil as well? You can ask mommy to give you some. All the babies can take. Just start with one first. Yes. Who has unmuted themselves? Has a question? Okay. All right. So I think we can start to round up. Do you know?
Yep.
No questions coming in. All right, cool. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Looking